Okay, hi everyone. Welcome. Good to see you all. I'm sure you're here for many different reasons. We're going to do two presentations tonight I'm very excited about. And this is a regularly scheduled council meeting. All of the materials are posted on the back wall. There are agendas in the pockets there. If anybody has something that they want to say during community notes, you're welcome to come up and speak for 3 minutes about anything that's not on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, you have to wait until it's taken up on the agenda, and then the council speaks, then you get to ask questions or speak, and then the council gets the final word. I think that's it. So, Fred, would you like to read the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before we do community notes, we're going to do some presentations, which is one of the most fun parts of my job. And the first presentation I want to make is to Inga Zimba, who's here. You want to come up, sweetie? Some of you, I hope all of you know that Inga was one of 50 school children from across the state who were finalists in the Google Doodle contest. And she is recently back from California, where she was entertained and educated and had fun at the Google campus. And I'm going to ask her to tell you a little bit about that. But first I want to present the certificate of recognition that, that shows that the city is very excited about your accomplishments, and a medal of achievement. And, oops, we just looked at the eye there. And I would love to have you just say a little bit about your drawing and why it's, how it came about and what happened when you went to Google.
Oh,
great, there it is.
The theme for the contest was if I could invent one thing to make the world a better place. I invented a robotic bee because I knew that I was researching bees in school, and I found out that they were dying out because scientists don't know why. So I invented a robotic bee that can fly bees' hives and record information on why bees are dying out so scientists can save them. And the apple is one of the foods we wouldn't have if we didn't have bees. And the bee sees in hexagons, and that is how the bee would see the word Google.
Excellent. Tell us what happened when you went to Google.
So when I went to Google, when we got there were all sorts of different workshops. Like we could make our name into like animals and shapes and stuff, and there were art. We could do drawing and stuff, and then there was the award ceremony, and I got honorable mention for the most beautiful use of the logo, and yeah.
Excellent. I can't tell you how exciting that is. And what school do you go to?
I go to Albert S. Hall School.
And who's your art teacher?
Mrs. Hilton.
Is she the one who encouraged you to enter?
Yeah, she had she introduced the students to the contest and stuff.
And did other students enter?
Yeah, several other students. There were 100,000 submissions in the United States.
And you were one of 50?
Yes.
Wow. So what's going to happen? What are they going to announce a winner or one winner?
It's going to be on the Google website for a day on June 9th, the winner.
Okay. And so do we know Do you know yet?
We do,
Yes.
yeah. It's
Yes.
is a young India's age from New York.
From New York.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow. I think honorable mention for most beautiful is the best award. So congratulations. And thank you so much for representing Waterville in such a wonderful way.
Thank you.
I hope you have a long career in the art industry. Thank you.
Yay.
As someone who couldn't even draw a pin when I was in school, I'm always excited about people who are good when they're young at art. Especially because of the creativity that gets unleashed. So the second fun thing tonight is to recognize Peter Garrett. Peter, would you like to come up? Peter is a visionary who I've known for a number of years, and I'm so excited to be able to recognize you again, not just today, but also on Saturday, right?
Okay.
At a fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice place.
And it's going to be sunny, I see. Even better.
Yeah.
Whereas, this is a mayoral proclamation. Whereas Peter Garrett's leadership as founder and president of the Kennebec-Massillonsky Trails Group has helped promote a healthier lifestyle for many living in the surrounding communities. And whereas Peter's vision for a connected network of multi-use trails in the greater Waterville area has produced over 40 miles of trails. And whereas Peter has served as president and valued member of the Waterville Rotary Club for over 20 years, and whereas Peter's hard work, passion, diligence, and kindness has made the greater Waterville area a better place for generations to come. Now I therefore, Karen Heck, Mayor of Waterville, do recognize Peter Garrett, and we call upon our fellow residents to pay tribute to this individual who is truly a credit to our community. In witness whereof I do hereby set my hand and seal this 3rd day of June, 2014.
Wow.
Thank you. You should at least say something about Trail Day coming up.
Yes, that's right. This will be the 15th in line. We started in the year 2000, which if you count the zero, it turns out to be the 15th this year. And in that case, we didn't have a trail. National Trails Day without a trail. We were thinking about it. So we met at Head of Poles and we walked all the way up to Fairfield around the railroad yard. And we had quite a number of people come. And the next one we had a couple of hundred people come. And we've been going ever since. And let me say, Karen, that although you've honored me, and thank you for that, and it's been a team effort. I mean, there are so many people in this area, with Waterville Cottage taking a lead because you're in the middle of it all, and most of the trips of 40 miles are actually here. There have been an enormous number of people helping out, and some of you are sitting here in this room, some are not. Some of you are sitting over there, and some of you are sitting over here, and some of you are sitting over here. And so it takes a team, it takes a village, as the saying goes, to do something like this. And so thank you all for your various parts, they big and small, and by all means, use them all. Find every one of those 40 miles and walk it or bike it.
And tell Trails Day.
Oh yeah, Trails Day is this Saturday. Starts at 9 o'clock. Starts at Head of Falls. We're going to walk across the bridge. Two-Cent Bridge. By the way, Karen, I remember when you were in Rotary as president, and you made that a project to get it straight again and opened up. So now it's wheelchair accessible for the first time in 100 years. And so if you know anybody in a wheelchair, bring them along too. And all the way up into Winslow, it's wheelchair accessible. And so it's a really nice trail. We're going to walk through the Winslow school trails and then down to the dam, next dam up, and along all the way into, well, for those of you who want to walk 8 miles, It's 4 miles out and 4 miles back, potentially.
But you can do it.
Any part of it.
Well, thank you, because this is a huge economic issue here. Waterville too. People want to move to places where there are trails. They want to be. They look up walkability indexes, and the ability of people to come out and get out and move around is huge. So.
One more thing I should mention, and that is Kim, who's not here, Kim Lindell. She says of all of the many brochures and flyers that she has in that office, it's the trails map that people ask most for.
Good.
So,
Excellent.
back up.
Of course, I want to do them all, but I'm appreciative of all of the trails and all of the work that all of you have done. So thank you, because it's been a lot of hours of sawing and brushing, grabbing brush and maintenance, and Matt's been involved, and so thank you all for your hard work. So, does anybody have any community notes? Yes, Javon.
Hi, my name is Javon Carter. I am from Ward 6 and I live in Waterville. I am doing a project called the Happy Video, which I've got a lot of people on board with in Waterville. We have the Alcon Youth Center, the Elks Club, the Hardy Girls Healthy Women, and a lot of other nonprofits and for-profits that are interested. And we're looking for anyone in the town that's interested in getting involved to just join up. You can see me or even talk to Karen. And
tell them what it is.
I don't know if anyone hasn't seen the video called Happy yet, but it's been very popular around the world. And a lot of cities now are actually creating their own version of Happy, showing people dancing for about 15 to 20 seconds, kids, adults. It's for everybody. So it's kind of to show a little bit of town pride. So we're going to make a video, show some pride for Waterville, and tell everyone, you know, what we are a little bit and that we're really happy here in Waterville. So if anyone's interested, please share this and have them contact me or Karen as well. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Going once? Twice? Okay, great. Can I have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Unfinished business, order number 76-2014.
An order providing for and accept FAA and MDOT grants and appropriate and expend local share funds. Be it hereby ordered by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city manager be authorized to execute all documents required by the FAA and the MDOT to accept the grants defined in Council Resolution 69-2014, and be it further ordered that the low bid from Lane Construction in the amount of $4,633,118 be accepted for the Maine runway reconstruction project, and that a contract with Stantec, the airport's engineering consultant, for $182,633 also be approved, and that the city manager be authorized to execute contracts for both. And be it further ordered that $266,026 be appropriated from the pending 2015 general obligation bond for the city's share of this project, and that the city manager be authorized to expend up to this amount for any change orders or other additional costs directly related to this project.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Question? All those in favor?
Move to take the third reading by title only.
Second.
All those approve? Yeah, all those approving.
An order providing for accept FAA and MDOT grants and appropriate and expend local share funds.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any last minute questions? Can you call the roll, please?
Councilor Stubbert?
Yes.
Councilor Lahovich?
Yes.
Councilor Winslow?
Yes.
Councilor Thomas?
Yes.
Councilor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Councilor Boucher?
Yes.
Councilor Rancourt Thomas?
Yes.
Vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Order 77-2014.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for approval of forfeiture.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Move to take the third reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for approval of forfeiture.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any questions? Is that the first?
This is the last.
The last
Could
reading.
you call the roll,
Yes.
please?
Counselor Stubbert,
Yes.
Counselor Mahovich,
Yes.
Counselor Winslow,
Yes.
Counselor Thomas,
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell,
Yes.
Counselor Boucher,
Yes.
Counselor Rancourt Thomas,
Yes.
voted 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Order 78-2014.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for acceptance and appropriation of 2014 Burn Justice Assistance Grant.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Move to take the third reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for acceptance and appropriation of 2014 Burn Justice Assistance Grant.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any questions? Could you call the roll, please?
Counselor Stubbert,
Yes.
Counselor Mahovich,
Yes.
Counselor Winslow,
Yes.
Counselor Thomas,
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell,
Yes.
Counselor Boucher,
Yes.
Counselor Rancourt Thomas,
Yes.
voted 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Order 79-2014.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for disposition of tax-acquired properties.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Questions? Comments? All those in favor?
Move to take the third reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for disposition of tax-acquired properties.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, it's title.
Counselor Stubbert,
Yes.
Counselor Mahovich,
Yes.
Counselor Winslow,
Yes.
Counselor Thomas,
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell,
Yes.
Counselor Boucher,
Yes.
Counselor Rancourt Thomas,
Yes.
voted 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Generally, it's not quite this quick, or a lot of these are orders and they require 3 readings, so that's what you're hearing right now. Most of this was discussed, if there were any discussions at the first meeting, just so you all know. Order 80-2014.
An order providing for acceptance of city streets. Be it hereby ordered by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that Lupine Drive and a portion of Meadow Drive, as defined in the attached meets and bounds descriptions, be accepted as city streets.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Move to take the third reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for acceptance of city streets.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Questions? Could you read the roll?
I would love to.
Thank you.
Counselor Stubbert,
Yes.
Counselor Mahovich,
Yes.
Counselor Winslow,
Yes.
Counselor Thomas,
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell,
Yes.
Counselor Boucher,
Yes.
Counselor Rancourt Thomas,
Yes.
voted 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Order 81-2014.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
An order providing for appropriation of municipal and school operating budgets for the period of July 1, 2014 through June 30, 2015.
Move to adopt.
Second.
No questions? No comments?
I have a couple questions.
Yes?
I do have a couple for Mike on this. Please, thank you. One of the questions I have, Mike, after reading the Morning Sentinel, is that there's certain things that that will not be picked up by the city, nor by recycling, such as kiddie pools and things like that. Has the city decided what they're going to do? Will they be put dumpsters up for people to deposit things that they cannot get rid of in the trash? Let's say if you had a broken chair and you couldn't get rid of it.
Well, it's no
Or a
different.
kiddie's pool right now. I mean, if I put a kiddie pool
It's-
out, the city would pick it up.
It's no different than it is now, so
No, but this is recycling, so they said the recycling wouldn't pick it up, and you're not going to put that in a trash bag, are you? I mean, there are certain things that aren't going to be able to be
there are
picked
certain
up,
things that can't be recycled.
or the city won't pick it up because it won't fit into these bags.
Same, and that won't change from the way it is today.
The city's not supposed to pick up those things now.
Right.
They do in some cases, which I've heard from people, but they aren't supposed to be picking them up now.
So what?
There's no change from the way it is today on that. Things that are not recyclable today will not be recyclable after July 1st.
I guess
So
what
a broken chair is the same after July 1st as it is today.
what I'm asking is that some people they do not have a vehicle, or they have no exposure to get rid of these things. They may be living in a home that doesn't have that. How are they to get rid of that? Will the city be providing something maybe 2 or 3 times a year that will help the
But
citizens?
we haven't talked about that at all.
I'm just asking.
That's a completely new topic, so.
They
No.
do that though in the South End now. You do that once a year.
Once a year, but I mean, these things could be building up in their backyards because they have no way to get rid of it.
Can I say something, Mike?
Please do.
I mean, it's a discussion we've had, Karen. We need to make some changes about how we deal with bulky items, and the committee's going to continue to meet after this is approved or not approved or whatever happens. I mean, for one thing, right now, if you need to get rid of a box spring, for example, you're supposed to take it to Pine Tree Waste. But during the week, there's a minimum amount up there, so you get charged for, I think it's 500 pounds, whether you bring in, one thing or, the minimum charge is like $25. So we've discussed possibly doing something at Public Works instead, where we would have a dumpster and there would be a fee schedule to get rid of those things. That's more reasonable than, say, having to pay $25 to get rid of a box spring.
But how would people get it there if they didn't have any transportation? Because a lot of the city relies on public transportation. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to carry that up the street to Public Works.
But that's already the case, Karen. Like, you can't stick a box spring out on the curb and have the trash pick it up.
Right. Well,
They're
I'm
also
just
not
asking.
supposed to pick up things like rugs or chairs or big like kiddie pools. They're not supposed to pick those things up. And so we have also discussed, I mean, the city does at some point need to have some sort of way of dealing with these items. Some cities have a case where you can go on the website and buy a tag, and then they work with a private hauler to go around and pick those things up. Is one of the things we discovered as we were talking about the way the city handles trash, that there are sort of holes in the way we deal with this stuff. And so it's a discussion we're going to have to continue to have and work out, some of these issues as we move forward.
I have a couple more questions, either to Councilor Thomas or to Mike. The other thing was that the city can raise the price of the bags on discretion, meaning that if we don't meet our quota of $323,000, let's say we do, a great job and we don't make that money up in bags, that we can raise the price of the bags, meaning to cover our losses. So could that bag at $2 now go to $4 because we haven't met that criteria? Or would we turn around and raise taxes at that point?
Well, the council-
If we don't...
I understand what you're saying.
Right, so if we fall below that,
Yep.
and we need to make up the money now, do we raise taxes or do we raise the cost of the bags?
Well, the council's in charge of determining what the cost of the bag is. You can do that at any time, but my feeling about the amount we've estimated for sale of bags is the same as any other revenue item we have in our budget. And if our revenue items in our budget don't meet our estimates 9 or 10 months later, we usually proceed to the end of the year, and the difference is made up either in less spending or comes out of our surplus. So I don't anticipate us through the middle of the year saying, all of a sudden we're not making as much as we thought on sale of bags and we have to do something. I don't think it's any different than revenue sharing or motor vehicle excise. We start the year with an estimate. We hope we're close at the end of 12 months. If we're not,
we make it up in other ways. Certainly wouldn't change the tax rate in the middle of the year.
Well, I know you wouldn't, but I'm talking like next year, let's say we fall flat and we say, you know, we need to raise.
Well, again, if we find after 1 year that the $323,000 estimate is way off, yeah, we're going to have to make an adjustment the following year, either different bag price, more taxes, whatever.
Could go down though, right?
Could go down. Could sell more bags than we're proposing, could sell less. I mean, it's a best estimate at this point. We can't expect it to be perfect the first time through.
Well, so, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm the new guy, but it sounds like what I'm hearing is that we're going to have this going for a year, and we're going to look at it, and then a year from now, the council's just going to do the exact same thing it always does, and we're going to sit down, we're going to spend about 3 months doing budget hearings and talking to the public and figuring out what we're going to do with our budget. We're going to decide what do we need to do with trash bags, right? I mean, isn't it just the same thing as we do with anything else? Okay.
Same thing we do with anything else. Of course, a year from now, the voters will be voting as to whether we keep going with pay-as-you-throw or not.
And my last question, Mike, and to the council, is I don't see why we cannot have a special election this June to let the voters decide. I think this is such a close tie, one way or the other, that I don't think 7 people should decide on this. I think it should be the voters of Waterville, not wait a year for this. Because that's my personal opinion, and I'm sure people here disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But I think that we should get this over and done with. And if we would have had a school election on the budget, this would have been on the ballot. But unfortunately, we don't have that this year.
My thought is that if we didn't try this for a year, we'd have to come up with the $350,000 somewhere. That would probably mean raising taxes again for the 4th year in a row. It's very clear, we all know it, that the cost of trash removal is going to jump up in about 3 years, double or triple the estimates are. And the pay-as-you-throw is an equitable solution. Everybody throwing is paying, not just the people who own real estate, which is what's going on now. The people who own real estate are the only ones paying for trash removal. Taxes won't otherwise go up this year. We're keeping a flat rate, and recycling, believe it or not, is a good thing, folks. It's good for the environment, and it doesn't cost us a thing. We're going to be able to throw many things, many more things in the recycling bin than we ever did, and it's going to cost nothing. And obviously, if we don't like it, next year we can vote it down. I think it's pretty good money that it's not going to get voted down next year, but we'll see.
I just want to say, Karen, the reasoning behind doing this for a year is because it's important that people really fully understand how it works and what the implications are, and you don't, until we try it, people don't know what it really means. Like, first of all, they're just looking at what they're throwing out now. The reality is you're still going to be, like 50% of what you're throwing away is recyclable. So that you essentially get to throw that out like trash. You just have to separate it. And so we're still picking that 50% of what you're throwing out up for free. And I just think it's important for people to give it a try, fully understand it, see how it works after a year, have some real numbers about what it means to our budget, have some real numbers about what it means for how much we save on the trash system. And then at that point, people can make an educated vote, because there's so much misinformation out there right now. You know, a lot of the people who I see who are opponents to this are saying things that just aren't true about how the system actually works. And I don't want somebody basing their vote on conjecture or something that somebody told them that's not true. You know, I'd rather have them try it for a year, decide, you know, for themselves, you know, whether they like it or not, and then make an educated vote about whether they want to keep it or not.
However, Councilor Thomas, I do believe that true democracy is in the vote of the people, and that they should have the say before this budget is passed. That's all I'm saying.
Well, then we should do that every year. Let's just get rid of the city council and we'll go to a town meeting.
And they do that in places. But I'm just rendering my opinion on this. And it's okay to agree to disagree. But if we all agree, then there's a problem. There should be different outlooks on the situations. and this is my personal, this is opinion, this is people I've spoken to, pardon me, and that's why I'm bringing it up. And this is how I feel, and I'm sure this will pass this evening. But
I mean, I guess the other thing is I haven't heard you offer an alternative budget. So what's your alternative?
I am not offering an alternative budget. What I'm saying is that, Eric, you can raise, you're talking, what, if we buy bags, you're saying $100 a year, maybe for the average family. With a family. I'm not talking a single person. So you raise it, what, $1.5 million, what's that increase going to be? Same thing?
Or more.
It's going to be not that much more. However, it equals out is what I'm saying. But we are 7 people. We are not the city of Waterville. We are not the 15,000 people that live in the city. That's all I'm saying.
We were elected,
And we were elected to represent these people. We weren't elected to
like our
represent
decisions,
7
they will
people's
vote us
situation.
out.
Yeah, I'm up for election this fall, so.
Not me.
Anybody else on the council? No, go up there, say who you are, what ward you live in, please. You don't have to move there.
Lee Bushy, Ward 5. This weekend I was over my father-in-law's, he's 98 years old. He lives in his own home. And I go over to coffee and he's got a pencil and a pad of paper and he's ciphering. I said, Pete, what are you doing? He goes, I gotta figure out what I gotta give up to pay $2 for a trash bag. He's paying 5 cents a trash bag now. Now he's gonna have to pay $2 for a trash bag. Here's a gentleman, 98 years old, a taxpayer, he's not delinquent on his tax payments. And look at the increase, look at the hardship. I mean, I remember I contacted a couple city councils here on the subject of the minimum wage, and everyone felt good about saying we need to support a $10.10 minimum wage. I hope the city council felt good about saying, you know, you're 98 years old, I'm not going to charge you $2 for a darn trash bag. It's ridiculous. I mean, you're bringing people in the middle class down to the lower class by doing that. It's no, I thought this council was like income equity with a $10.10 minimum wage support. Well, you're not supporting the poor, you're decreasing their ability to buy groceries and to stay in their own home. Thank you.
What about recycling, Lee? Lee,
Yeah.
what about recycling? What about recycling? Can you-
It seems so Waterville did have a recycling program years ago, and that floundered.
Does
So,
it cost too much, Jerome?
okay, so.
No, and it wasn't the same as what we're bringing back. You had to sort it yourself and put it on the curb in different types of, so I mean, it wasn't the same recycling.
Ron?
Thank you. Again, my name is Jabron, and I'm from Ward 6. And the way I'm looking at pay-as-you-throw, there's a lot of benefits, actually, and a lot of things that look pretty bad for some people as well. I think what's upsetting most people, though, is that a lot of the times they see the trash pickup is free. It's actually comes out of our taxes that we pay them. And when you take away something that was free at one point, even though it wasn't really free, it was an image of being free, people get really upset, and that is understandable to get upset. But secondly, there is the concern, can you pay? Can people afford it? And I would just employ, especially Dana Bushy as my ward representative, to please consider the people that are here to talk and not just vote on because this is what you all agree on and that's what you're going to do just to fix the budget. We don't, when I think about things, you know, you're saying it's either tax increase or pay as you throw. That sounds kind of like, well, you're going to have 2 bads no matter what, so pick one or the other. I'd rather see a way for us to increase our budget, just like Eric Thomas told me about a young student who saved his school $20,000 by lowering the font and just making their page a little bit smaller and printing less paper. I'd like us to see a budget that increases without having to take it out of the pockets out of the taxpayers.
We probably all would like to see that, Jerome, but you're not going to find $335,000 in this budget to do
I
that.
think we could make it.
Well, you've had an opportunity to attend some of the budget meetings.
Yes.
Do you have some proposals?
I know your argument is going to obviously be, do you have some proposals on a very complex budget? And I don't think that giving me 3 minutes or 10 minutes or even half an hour could give me enough time to teach you or show you anything about improving our budget. I can stand here and speak for an hour and definitely not cover that. It's a very good question, and I think people should be sitting down on a way figuring out how to fix it. Great question. Unfortunately, I can't answer that right now. It's way too big of an answer.
I think, though, the point is that this has been discussed, the budget's been discussed for the last 3 months. So it's not like this is coming up out of nowhere.
No, but for some...
And people have been trying to reduce the budget. There is no place that there is that amount of money that is available to do that. So either your father will pay more money in his taxes, or he'll pay less money in his bags. And he might only pay $1.25 a bag instead of $2 a bag.
Or you might pay $3 next year or $4 next year after that. The taxes might increase any. Yes, we do know, because generally, once you implement something, usually it doesn't get revoked. It's very hard to revoke a law once it gets enacted. Once you do that, you can't revoke it very easily. And the price can go up. And about recycling, someone asked as well. You said recycling is important here. Some people should know things about recycling. For example, paper. It's actually not great to recycle paper because it actually can pollute. When you actually bring the paper there, they have to get the ink out of it. And there's actually pollution that's created by that, as well as the trucks that bring the paper there. There is not everything great about recycling. Not everything being recycled is good. It's easier to make glass out of fresh materials than to recycle them. But there are recycling products that are good, such as aluminum, which is why it's obvious everyone collects them out of dumpsters and make money so that they can feed themselves. So there's plenty of things that are recyclable, that are very good to recycle, but there are some things that are not. And we're putting everything under one bag, putting it all in there. And if you've done the research, you'll also know, please do look it up, that it's not 100% efficient and not everything gets recycled properly.
Siobhan, were you here when Eco Maine was here and
I was, and I understand their marketing campaign's very great, but I still don't believe everything that they're saying is accurate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, really? Come on. We're going to start having a clap-o-meter soon. It's not going to get I don't want them.
Chris Rankle, Ward 7. Unfortunately, I'm not much of a public speaker, and so I'm just going to speak from the heart. When I listened to Councilor Marinko Thomas speak about the $100 a year, that's a low estimate. That's using one bag a week for garbage. You figure if you got a family with kids, you're going to use at least 4. Under the mill rate being raised, my taxes would go up $164 a year. Under pay bags, it's going to go up well over $200. And the City Council also has discretion to raise the price of these bags. Second of all, unfortunately, because I do a lot of things, I don't get a chance to get here. The most disheartening thing I see about this City Council is the smugness and the lack of concern for what, it's a political agenda that's trying to be pushed here on the people of this city. There should be a vote coming up. Are we so stupid that we don't understand this? We need to be educated over the course of a year? I just don't understand why. I mean, I'm looking at some city council members here who are just smiling, think this is a joke. It's not a joke. I watched the news this morning. Under the new EPA rules, the average price of an electrical bill will go up 33%. With that, your food prices go up. Your gas, everything goes up. And now you're imposing more taxes. You say it's a fee. It's not a fee. It's a tax disguised as a fee. And it's taxation without representation. And it's wrong. It's wrong.
Well, thank you. I don't think that people are smiling because they're smug. I think they're smiling because we've heard these arguments before. And actually, you might use less than one bag because most of the things that you are throwing away, you can be recycling.
We're going to be using less than one bag because nobody's going to have any money to buy anything anymore. That's why we're going to be using less than one bag.
If you only use one bag, you would save $60 since you already said it would cost you that much for your taxes. Unfortunately, not everybody lives the same. And I have found over the course, because I was a union rep for many years, and the one thing that I found out when I was the political officer for the union was progressives have a tendency to say, do as I do, period, because I'm right, everybody else is wrong, and follow me because I'm the way. And this is not democracy. It is actually democracy. You elect people to make decisions for you. Stu.
Actually, I'd like to respond to that, if I may.
Go right ahead.
As the person who proposed the referendum in the first place, I have to say that the phone calls that I was getting from people in opposition, more than half the people that I spoke to were giving me incorrect information that had been spread to them from other people. I originally gave a lot of consideration to when I proposed this to say, let's hold this referendum before we ever put a single orange bag in a store. And I decided against that because I had way too many people giving me this bad information. And I don't think that we should be having an election based on, as Councilor Thomas said, conjecture. I do think that it is very easy for this program to be ended. All you have to do is come out on June 9th, 2015 and check the little box that says yes. And if 50% plus one agrees with you, then it's gone. This council's not going to bring it back. The reason why we're looking at putting it to referendum in the first place is because we've got half the city that says it's a great idea. And we've got half the city that says it's a terrible idea. And the very fact that that is being discussed in that way says that we need to do something that lets everybody have a choice. But we need to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to make an informed decision, and that is not what is happening right now. And until such time as that can happen, we need to make sure that people get to try it out, figure out how it works, and if they still hate it, then throw it out. Throw it out, right? That's what we're talking about.
Can I respond to you, sir, on what you're saying?
Let's take
No,
talk.
no.
Feel free to grab
You have to wait
Mike
until you
again,
can
and
go
I'll be
back.
happy to do that, but let's take turns.
My name is Stu Silverstein from Ward 2, and I think we all have to take responsibility as to how we live. You know, we really don't like those coal-burning states, the coal furnaces. We say, you know, they're polluting, all their pollution from the Midwest falls in Maine, and we can't do anything about it. We don't like it, but we don't know how to stop them. But don't you see, it's our lifestyle that encourages all this fossil fuel energy use. I mean, day in, day out, we buy this crapola in the stores. This stuff lasts a week, big deal. Throw it out, buy more stuff. Where does it go? It's not getting recycled. It's going to the landfill. It's just too expensive. As a community, as a nation, we really can't afford this. So I would like all of us to embrace pay-as-you-throw, curbside recycling, and we'll have a cleaner environment and a more progressive city. Thank you.
Somebody else had their hand, oh, Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Merrill, and I live in Ward 6. And I just want to say that I have attended most city council meetings when there might be 3-4 people here at the most. And these councilors and a group of others have gone through, and they've gone through every line item on the budget to see where things could be cut. Things are cut to the bare minimum. I don't recycle, I'll be the first to tell you. And I've been cleaning out things that they might not take next month. But anyway, the thing is that it's a change. It's changes for all of us. None of us like change. And I'm not saying in June 2015 that we'll check we like pay-as-you-throw because we've done it. People don't like change, and that's what this is. This isn't I'm buying $2 a bag. This isn't any of that. This is change. It's not what we're used to. So now instead of throwing something away, we have to stop and think, what bucket does it go in? It doesn't all go in the same bag. So I just wanted to say that. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there somebody who hasn't spoken before Gibran goes back up? Yeah.
My name is Sarah Tadeo. I live in Ward 5, and I have 2 questions. The first of which is, why are we going to have a referendum when we incur a penalty? If the referendum votes it down, I understand we have to pay a penalty for changing out, so that's kind of not a really fair election. That's a rigged result because nobody's going to vote to increase their taxes to pay money to Waste Zero for breaking a contract that maybe we didn't want to be in. And my second question is, why is Waste Zero even involved? This is an out-of-state company that's going to take 35 cents per bag to do what? Manufacture the bags and provide press releases. That's all their website says they do. So why are we paying them at all?
They also administer the program, so they.
What does that mean, administer?
That means they deal with all the retailers, so they make arrangements to have the bags for sale with all the retailers, they do all of the accounting.
So they are skimming part of this money. Instead of all of the money staying here in Waterville to fill the coffers that we need to fill, they are taking some of the money. There are other programs that other towns use where they get their own stickers and they put them on whatever bag you want to use. So I am really confused as to why you need Waste Zero specifically.
We could hire a new city employee to administer it, but
Do you need a whole employee to sell stickers? I really have to say that's a little suspect. Waste Zero is employing a lot of people in another state, and we are now going to subsidize that. And I guess they've made a really good presentation, because when I wrote to you all, you repeated their talking points. You didn't answer any of my questions. Nick?
Nick Isbro from Ward 4, and I actually have a couple of questions, and it may be for Mike, it may be for councilors. One of the things that was in the paper was that it's being considered that along with the fees for the new bags, because there's a concern that people can't buy the new bags, that there's going to be a subsidy for the new bags, or there'll be a reduced cost just to some citizens. And I'm wondering, has there been any study done? Is there any estimate out of the initial, projected income made from these bags of what we're actually going to lose? Do you know how many people roughly we're talking about, what that loss of income is, just from that idea? Or is it just an idea that's floating around and we're kind of just running into this thing without knowing?
It's an idea that has not had any substance attached to it. The city has not talked about subsidizing bags for anyone. Waterville Housing Authority has talked about instituting their own voucher system for their tenants. So there might be a voucher system for them. The South End Neighborhood Association has talked about instituting a system for people in the South End that would be paid for through theirs, but we have not, the council has not talked about any city-sponsored support for that.
Okay, so the city will, regardless of how this works out, get the $2 a bag. It won't be a taxpayer subsidized.
At this point in time, that's where it stands.
Okay.
Yep.
Because the concern with giving bags, the whole incentive to recycle is that people are getting dinged with this $2 fee. But if people aren't going to get hit with the fee, there's really no incentive for them to recycle it. And I guess there's a concern. I feel like if you're going to do it, which I'm totally against it, you all know that, you need to administer this to everybody, and either everybody pays or everybody doesn't. We talk about equitable. That's equitable.
So that is what the city is proposing.
But I think the thing is, Nick, we've heard from a lot of people who are concerned about people who really can't afford it. And so we're concerned about that too. I mean, we don't want people to be choosing between eating or buying trash bags. So for people who are already getting food from the food bank or who are living in the subsidized housing, there has been some talk about general assistance at the city level. We're concerned with addressing those issues of people who really absolutely not. And here's the thing: there's one woman who's not here tonight who originally claimed she could not afford this. Like, it was absolutely, she was so poor, couldn't pay for it. And now her plan is that she's going to hire a private hauler that's going to cost her more than the $2 a bag, because she doesn't want the city to get the money. So, it wasn't at all that she couldn't afford it. It's that she just didn't like it.
Did you have some other questions?
I do. And these may just be comments, and I'm going to try not to repeat anything that I've said in the past. I do want to echo the comments that were made before of, if we're going to have a vote when there's penalties being made, I appreciate the gesture, but not really, because it's a vote with the voters being held hostage to the fees that are going to be increased, or the penalties that are going to be incurred by doing this. So I would just like to echo the sentiment that people probably aren't going to vote. It's obviously slanting a vote in favor of the program.
Mike, can you just
Do
say
you
what
wanna
are
talk to
the
that, Mike?
penalties?
Right, I wanted to address Mrs. Gier's question about penalties.
Today.
Sarah?
Today.
Sorry. Two items may involve penalties, may not. The contract with Waste Zero that you mentioned has, what they typically do is, of course, have a supply of bags, so enough so they don't run out. They normally have a 2-month ahead supply. So the item before you tonight to establish a date for a referendum for next June says that if the pay-as-you-throw system is voted down, then it would end September 1, 2015, which means the next 2-3 months would be the time to get rid of all the bags that they have. Hopefully there would not be a penalty with Waste Zero. I don't know, but
So basically the penalty would be buying the XX bags if there's bags
penalty
left.
would be buying the XX bags if any are left by September 1. The other penalty, which is even more difficult to predict, is with Maine, where all the recyclables are delivered. At the present time, the agreement with Maine is we don't pay anything to bring the recyclables there. They don't give us anything for the value, whatever there might be of the recyclables. Because the recycling market, prices go up and down. People probably know that very well. Cardboard fluctuates, paper products fluctuate, plastic is all over the place. So from month to month to month, it's very, very hard to predict, is the plastic going to be worth something or not? So we're going in with the understanding we're not paying anything, they're not giving us anything. If we have 10 months, if they have 10 losing months, then at the end of the time period, assuming it's voted down next June, they're going to come back and say, for the last 10 months, you delivered X tons to our plant. We lost $5 to $10 per ton. Therefore, you owe us that amount of money. And that's possible.
And they're estimating $8,385, so we're not really talking about, I mean, it's not like we're talking about even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That was the worst case that we could come up with based on what we thought our tonnage might be, and the worst loss that they could have over the 12-month period was
$8,385.
Yep. I think that's the worst case with Maine. With Waste Zero, hopefully we use up all the bags they have. And
their worst case scenario was $11,666.
But I think that was assuming we'd buy all the bags.
Right, that's assuming a 2-month supply in the warehouse, and we'd have to buy every bag, right?
Right. If we go to September 1, they're not going to buy any more bags.
Right, but so it was worst case scenario if they ended up stuck with a 2-month supply.
That was 11,000.
11,000.
So you got 11 and 8.
$20,000 total, which translates to 0.00 something on the tax rate. So it's not really, in a significant amount of money.
And realistically, if you're talking about if you're voting June 9th and it's ending in September and you've got a 2-month supply, then what you're saying is you've run out of bags. So we wouldn't be buying anything back.
Thank you for answering the questions. Final comment. Councilor Thomas, you just said that to administer stickers, we would need to hire a new person. And that's exactly the kind of thinking that is wrong with government. Because realistically, in private business, you have a budget. And you need to earn the money, and you don't have the option of just going out and saying, we're going to generate it because we want to by fiat. And so, as salaries matriculate and people move on, companies are doing more with less, and they're assigning more duties to less people. But the problem with government and progressive thinking is that we just need to keep adding and adding and adding. Councilor Stubber, I was at a budget meeting recently, and you yourself said that this city is in a state of economic decay. And what have you done in the last 3 years? You've spent millions of dollars on capital projects. You've added over $400,000 in annual debt spending. And now you're adding more. I mean, that is not a help to the people with the spending. If that's the way you think, I don't know why you would vote on something that's just going to continue to charge the people of Waterville and make it a less attractive place to live. And the reality is this shouldn't be about recycling. And Stu, I like you, you're a great guy. But I don't think the starving people in Africa that don't have any power and no fossil fuels would agree that we need less coal and less power. This isn't a place for that kind of agenda. I've been assured by the council that that's not why they're voting on this, and I hope that's true. But that's just my final commentary. It's, you know, it's unfortunate that we're in this spot and we need to come up with this money, but we need to come up with the money not just because prices are just going up. It's because there's been a whole bunch of spending along with the price increase in the Patagon.
Okay, so let me just ask you a question. Are you in favor of increasing taxes?
No.
Okay, so then, the $330,000, where would you come up with it?
Well, line by line, I don't really know right now.
Line by line, you couldn't find it. Let me just say, you
Well,
couldn't
right,
find
because
it.
you know what, and that's what my comment was. The unfortunate thing is that we just spent $3.5 million on a police station and took out a bond, and we're paying for all these projects.
Yes, we are.
We just don't need to.
We don't need a police
What you're talking
station.
about before you say something like that.
I do know what I'm talking
No, you
about. Yes, I do.
We save considerable money by building it now rather than building it 5 years from now.
And there were other options that were more
No,
affordable
there
than
are other
that.
options.
We looked at every option twice.
We're not going to redo the police station.
Oh, I realize
debate
that,
right now,
but for the record, I was down here asking you to spend within our means at that time because I didn't want taxes to go up.
But I would like to say, Nick, that when you say that the government has just increased, this city has gone from 127 employees 5 or 6 years ago to 110, 11?
Yes.
So that is not true, what you were saying about how we say we're just going to keep adding. And I really think that people need to understand that. We are not in this position of increasing the amount of money that we're putting into this budget over and above what it's costing to run the city. And it still means that we don't have potholes filled. It still means we're losing teachers. It still means that streets aren't plowed or the dust isn't sucked up when people want it done. So I really don't agree with you that somebody else can just be adding this to their jobs, because this city, this town, the governor was actually the mayor of this town. He did whatever he could to reduce the expenses in this town, and he still used surplus money to run the town, and he also used surplus money to give a tax decrease. And those were totally unsustainable positions to take. And so this council for the last 3 years has been tasked with trying to continue to run this city with the amount of money that's available to us. At the same time, the federal or the state government is cutting the amount of money that we're here to do. So for anybody to sit out there and think that you're going to go through the budget line by line or even category by category and come up with $330,000 is fantasy. I just want to be clear about that. You can think it, but it's not reality.
Well, and I want to say something, because everyone always says the government should be run like a business, but the reality is it's not as though the city can look around and say, well, here's a neighborhood that's underperforming, let's just, cut them off and hand them over to Winslow, and not plow their streets anymore. We don't have that option. We have to continue to provide a minimum amount of service. And that really is, just look around in the winter. We're at that point. And what was cut out of the budget last year was the road improvements. And if people wanted us to find $350,000 this year, you know what the first thing to go would be? Fixing the potholes, fixing the streets. That would be the first thing that would be cut from the budget. And one of the things that we bonded for, along with the police station, was also money to fix roads. That was money that was spent on Drummond Ave last year that's going to be spent to fix the rest of Drummond Ave this year. It's going to be spent on Cool Street this year. So it's not as though we're just taking this money and we're certainly not lining our own pockets, I guarantee you that. What we're using it for is to invest in the infrastructure of the city. And when you buy a home in the city, you have invested in the city. And if we as a city government sit here and let the city just fall apart, let the streets crumble, let the streetlights burn out, keep firing teachers, then what is that investment you made in your home going to be worth? And certainly we need to strike a balance, but these are the issues that we actually have to deal with up here when we're looking at the budget. And it is easy to sit on the other side and say, well, just cut, just, spend less. But when you go through the budget line by line and you start saying, well, okay, this year we won't fix those 5 roads that really need to be fixed. That's a pretty tough decision to make. You know, and when you don't fix them this year, all that happens is next year it gets more expensive to make those repairs. So, you know, I mean, all of us would love to sit up here and say, hey, you know what? We're going to fix all the roads that are broken. We're going to make the schools the best school in the state, and we're going to lower your taxes. I mean, I would love to tell you that, but that's not reality.
You need to wait, Stu. Anybody else who hasn't spoken? Go ahead, Jabron. Stu.
We were speaking about education on this topic. I was curious, how long did the council research this?
Research what?
The pay-as-you-throw program?
About a year?
A year.
There was a committee that looked at it
Yeah,
for,
it wasn't the council.
it's been started a year ago.
Okay, well, but you've done your own research for how long, and I'm just curious.
Could someone tell me if the committee studied the option of using tags as opposed to the bags?
We did.
Well, I guess where I'm trying to get at is I've heard the comment a lot of times, well, do you have a better idea? Unfortunately, as a community, we haven't had as much opportunity to come up with ideas and sit there. Myself, I only heard about this just a few weeks ago. You know, I don't always read the newspaper because sometimes that's the stuff that I see in the newspaper bothers me. I don't like reading about murders and all the bad stuff that happens, but I speak word of mouth and I hear from people and know what's going on, so I came here and I'm going to be here every week, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak, but I really have to wonder if it's fair to say that people are informed with disinformation and that's the real problem. Well, maybe it's because they weren't given the same opportunity to be given a presentation by someone opposing Waste Zero, giving just as good of a presentation with the opposing facts. That could be different. Because I'm pretty sure that if they saw that kind of a presentation just as well put on as compared to Waste Zero, that we might actually have a few more people that would be against pay-as-you-throw.
Oh, okay. Were you going to say something?
Was there a question? I'm sorry.
I get tired of hearing people act as though this is an easy vote.
I don't think it's an easy vote.
Well, you've been repeating that online over and over again, that, you know, we don't care, and we're voting on things and we're not studying the issue. We had a committee that studied the issue for a year. We've been talking about it since March. So if you haven't been educated by now, I don't know. I mean, we've been meeting and going through this budget over and over and over again and talking about it. I mean, I can't tell you how many hours I've talked to people on the phone, answered emails, gone to the city council meetings, the budget meetings, met with Mike, met with counselors, met with the South End,
and it sounds like
met with people.
well worth doing, because the city's going to make up more money and more of a budget for it, which is why you put all of this time and effort into doing so. And now we have to come and defend ourselves and allow you to speak. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Excuse me, I'm not finished.
I was speaking and I wasn't finished, ma'am. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you.
Well, you are interrupting me, though.
Okay, I'll let you speak then. I was in the middle of a sentence, though. We're on TV, so. Go ahead. You finish.
What I'm trying to say is that I came into this very critical because I knew that part of my ward was in the South End, and I had been told by members of the community that it would be a hardship for people. And what I don't think you understand is when you actually sit down and you start to look at that we're spending almost $700,000 to pick up trash, while we lay off teachers and not hire teachers who are retiring, while we can't tell the police department that they can't hire another officer. And you were here just a couple of council meetings saying we needed more officers at night because of all the activity happening on Main Street.
Specifically we need more officers.
And
I said that the officers did an excellent job, and I said that they should have a security guard at Waterville House of Pizza. I never said that. You're misquoting me. And you're also misquoting me online. I never said that you're specifically all just doing this just because, not hearing it from you. I've heard it from you. I have heard it from this council that you're voting this in because, just like the seatbelt law, even everyone being against it, you're still going to vote it in. And that's what I compared it to, speaking to one of you. I'll leave it anonymous. I said, are you just doing this no matter what the people say? And I heard, yes. That was the answer. You don't care what the people say. And I think if there were 100 people in this room against it, you'd still vote it in.
Because we have to run the city.
Thank you.
We have to be able to have a police department. We have to be able to have a fire department. We have to be able to have teachers.
But I can't talk about that because it's not on topic. We overspent.
Thank you.
That's the issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Stu.
Okay, First of all, I was one of the members of the committee that has studied the issue, and I do want to say something about Waste Zero. Yes, it's a large out-of-state corporation, and they're going to make some money from Waterville. But they should, because of the service they're going to provide. What they provide is 2 different size bags, and they'll be color-coded. We'll have our logo on them, and they'll be found in various stores in Waterville easily. The alternative is stickers. And I did look into stickers, and some towns use stickers, but usually they go with the bags first to get the system rolling easily. If you start off with a sticker, where do you get the sticker? Well, we could mail them out, or you could go to City Hall and buy stickers, and then you have to buy bags, but you're going to know which size bag to buy. It gets too complicated. But if we find that everything is working smoothly, then maybe we won't need to buy bags from Waste Zero. We can use up our reserve and then go to stickers and potentially save some money. But we decided it's not a good idea to go with stickers in the beginning because of the reasons I just gave you. That's the sticker story.
I'd just like to say, I'm not opposed to you all levying taxes if that's the way that we need to balance the budget, because that's an open admission that we don't have the money, instead of pretending that this is going to solve the problem, because if you keep getting less and less trash, you will get less and less income. And since you want to have less trash, you're pushing yourself into a corner. And I would rather be able to deduct my taxes and say, yes, I paid this. This is a progressive tax, than have a regressive use tax, which will hurt people who can least afford it, especially people who have to use disposable diapers, which, thank God, is no longer me.
I mean, you have to...
People probably aren't itemizing their deductions if they can't afford the bags. I would have to disagree with you there.
Well, and I would say, I just lost my train of thought. The whole point is for people to throw out less trash. That's how we save money. Because no matter how much you recycle, it costs us a flat amount. So it's not as though like, oh my God, it's been so successful that nobody's throwing out any trash. We're only selling 1 bag a year, so we have to charge $600,000 for it. That's not how it works. I mean, the less trash people throw out, the less the system costs us, which saves everybody money in the long run. So the more successful the program is, it's not as though we're going to have to raise the bag fee to make up the difference, because we'll be burning less trash, which will cost us less money. I mean, the $2 a bag, as it is, doesn't cover the entire cost of the trash system. Some of it is still subsidized by taxes. And that's why when I hear somebody saying, well, I'm just going to hire a private hauler, I'm like, well, have at it, because we'll save even more money by you not participating in the system. You know? And it's just going to cost you more money in the long run by going to a private hauler than just paying $2 a bag.
I would rather have an honest accounting and have it all out there. This is what...
You want to go, if you want to speak, you have to go back to the microphone.
What's not honest about us telling you have to pay $2 a bag for your trash because because it's the trash you generate? There's nothing hidden here. It's not like we did it secretly. I mean, no, it's not. Call it a tax, call it whatever you want. It's a new way of funding the trash system. I don't care, call it a tax.
I have one brief last question, Your Honor.
Is it a question or is it a comment?
It's a question.
Go ahead.
My question is very simple. If we're to raise taxes and I own a home that's worth $50,000, how much more will I pay?
If it went up by $1 million and you have a $50,000 house, it would be $50.
I'd like to pay the $50.
You might only have to pay $25 if you start recycling all your stuff.
That's not likely.
All right, does anybody have something new to say? Yes. No, not you, Lee. The man behind you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kevin Gilbert. Been here 12 years. I don't know what ward I'm in. Off the Webb Road. Probably 5. 13-gallon bag, 30-gallon bags. $2.03 at Walmart for 19 bags. I'm disabled, I'm on fixed income. I do pay property taxes. I figured it out. I'll be paying an extra, at one bag a week, about an extra $96 a year. 1.5, we'll say $125. If you raise my mill rate by 1, that's only an extra $10 for me. My home, after the exemption, is valued at $10,750. So I'd rather, you could actually raise the mill rate by 5 or 6 points to me.
Okay, so let's take a vote on that. All those in favor?
I'm just saying there's a lot of people in my situation that own mobile homes that we don't pay a great amount. We live on rented lots and part of our lot fee goes for the city. So I'm going to be in the hole about $100 easily every year.
It's possible though, and I don't think anybody's thinking about this, that you might have a smaller bag for a week, or you might have one bag a month, or one bag every 2 weeks, so that it's not necessarily $2 a week. I just think that when you see how much you can recycle, you might, 4 kids, that might be, do you have 4 kids?
How is that going to work in a large park with 100 units? Where do we put our recyclables?
Same way you
How
put
do
out
they
your
pick up
trash.
your trash
We just
now?
put it in a big pile at the end of the road and the city picks it up.
That's the same way it'll happen now.
Where do we
With
put,
this- it's
how many
the same
bins,
way-
how many bins are going to be down there? There's only an X amount of space.
However many you put out.
However many you put out.
What about you, Ron?
So 100 bins,
You can put
you won't be
your,
able to get in and out of the entrance.
you can put your recyclables either in a clear plastic bag, or you can put it in a trash can if you have one. Just mark it recyclable. So it'll be this is the thing. It's the same as putting out your trash. Except all you're doing is you're taking the things that are recyclable and you're putting them in one bag, and you're taking the things that are trash and putting them in another bag. And half of the stuff, anything that's recyclable, we're not charging you for. So at half of what you're throwing away, you can still throw away for free.
The recycle bags are free?
Yes.
Well, let me reiterate my point. It's still going to cost me an extra about $100 a year. So that's just 19 bags for $2.03.
Anybody else who hasn't spoken? Okay. Do you have a question or do you just have a comment? All right, go ahead.
Has the committee ever considered privatizing trash pickup? And would that save you money? Has that ever been discussed?
Actually, yes, it was.
Yes, we got bids from private haulers and it was more expensive than having the city do it.
Okay, any more questions? Going once,
I have one, but you won't.
twice. All right, all those in favor?
What are we voting on?
You're voting on the budget.
Oh, okay.
The second vote of the
Councilor
budget.
Russ.
No, council, Mr. Brown. Council. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Move to take the third and final reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
No.
All right, well, you get to vote. All those
Well,
opposed?
no.
All those opposed?
All you have to do is oppose, and it is, the third reading goes to the next meeting.
That's right.
I think you have to vote. Don't you
Nope.
have to vote? Why do you not have to vote?
Nope.
It has to be unanimous.
Absolutely.
In order to be
Flex
for the
down the
next
rule.
Is that true, council? I'm asking our attorney.
Is the question about readings?
No, it's about whether or not to take the third reading.
By
And if
title
there's-
only.
If there's a hot, no.
No, not by title only. It's by third reading.
It's to take the third reading.
They don't want to take the third reading.
Oh,
The title only is kind of a moot point. It's the whether or not.
No,
to
it's
take the
whether
third
they
reading.
want to take the vote.
And whether we want to take it again tonight or put it off to another week. Right.
Right, that's right.
what does the vote have to be
So
to
let's-
say no? Say yes.
It has to be unanimous to
Take a third vote?
I'm looking at the, our lawyer.
No. Be a majority vote. The majority, somebody moves to take a third reading and then
Well,
we
we've
second.
gone through this before. It's only one dissenting vote, so it's needed to put it off. Till next month.
Don't know.
What's the point of waiting another week? Don't we have other things built on this vote?
charter.
Like the referendum and,
On your charter?
It's not in the charter.
Well, why don't we move on and
Somebody will
look
research
up.
it. Perhaps you could research it.
You're talking about taking the third reading of the budget and somebody moves to take this, you can do 2 readings in one night,
Right.
okay? But you have to vote, you just have to vote to do that. To waive the reading of it,
No.
I know, but that's a different, that is a different issue. You do second and third readings in one night all the time on
No, but
different
if
orders.
one counselor says, no, I want to wait till the next meeting, Fred is saying that it has to be unanimous.
I don't believe that is the case. If you want to pass on that just a moment, I'll answer that definitively, but I do not believe that is the case.
We've done that in the past, but.
Well, that would be great if you
Does it have to
could.
be
I don't know what the point is.
a simple majority or a super majority?
Unanimity is waive the reading, but you take second and third readings the same night. You've done that 100 times this year on items.
As long as nobody opposes.
I think you just pass a simple majority on that.
I can go to the office.
Bill, are you not sure?
Well, since you're doing the budget,
I move to table order 81-2014 until the end of the meeting.
Okay.
yeah, you can pass the issue of the third reading for a moment to revisit it as soon as somebody comes back. Because it's the budget, I'd rather be 100%
Right,
on
but do we have
99%.
to move to do that, or can we just
It's on the
delay it?
agenda. I move to place order 81-2014 on the table. Can I get a second, please? So we can move on.
Well, the question is whether we need to.
Well, and
do
here's
that.
the other problem, we have other items on the agenda that I
Correct.
assume we can't vote on. Like, we can't vote to
Correct.
enter into a contract if we haven't approved the budget.
We have an agenda that's in order. Either we place the item on the table and continue with the agenda with all the items that we can't figure out, or we wait for somebody to come back with an answer. I'm moving that we table it so we can continue with business until they return.
Second.
Thank you.
Let me also say that traditionally, the budget has been 3 separate meetings. I don't know of any
No,
case.
last year it was-
Yeah, I agree with Fred on that.
Well, okay, so it's been moved and seconded to table this until later in the meeting.
Yes.
I'm assuming we can do that.
Yep, you have to counsel it
If
affirmatively.
we have to vote. All those in favor? Great. Unanimity. All right, so then, so we can do the trail, right? Under new business?
Yep.
Resolution 83-2014.
A resolution providing for acceptance of recreational trail program grant through Maine Bureau of Parks and Land. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city accept a grant from the Maine Bureau of Parks and Lands for $29,551 for trail enhancements at the Quarry Road Recreation Area. City crews will provide in-kind labor and equipment to supplement the program's required $8,000 match.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Right. Resolution 84-2014.
A resolution providing for bid award wide area mower attachment. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city be hereby authorized to award a bid of $13,999.00 to Kramer's Incorporated, Sydney, Maine, for the purchase of a wide area mower attachment. Said funds to be provided through a bond issue that was completed in 2013.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Questions? Hold on a second. Any questions? Yeah. Go ahead.
Dave Hammond, tractor over in Fairfield. I guess most of the time when I come to the city council on a piece of equipment that the town or the city is looking to buy, usually it's for numerous reasons. Tonight, basically, I give props to Randy for actually bidding more of a universal bid where he didn't actually pick a particular spec product and actually went ahead and he put it out to bid, and we bid 4 different mowers. Kramer's bid a particular brand of mower. it was good to see that he didn't pick one particular model and spec it exactly as to that model. So he got 4 or 5 different bids from a couple different 3 companies, 5 different brands and what have you. We bid 4 different models. We actually are not low bid, of course, Kramer's are. One of ours was $600 more. One addition to that was $1,000 more. I guess my only comment for the city, and I'd be a bad sales guy if I didn't come to the meeting and actually ask the question, to have the city council ask the low bid Kramer's what they have for track records with the brand that they basically have proposed to the city council. Number 1, how long have they been selling the product? And number 2, basically how many of these products have they sold in this particular area in central Maine. Us at Hammond Tractor, we've been selling, of the 4 different brands that we chose to actually bid to the city, the lowest one of mine was $14,600, which is a Bush Hog brand. To be quite honest, I wouldn't even recommend that to the city. I would recommend the Lamb Pride version, which is $1,000 more. I guess our track record, we've been a Lamb Pride dealer for 20 years, and we've sold 16 of them to this area, everyone from University of Maine in Augusta, Thomas College, University of Maine Orono, a couple to the state, about 7 or 8 different golf courses within 50 miles of here. They have a good track record. Track record means something. It means basically, well, if other people have used the product, and we've sold a lot of them, and a lot of people like the state, they actually specify a Lamb Pride when they bid a wide area mower. So it's $1,000, I understand, but I would encourage the city council to ask a little bit how many of those particular products they've ever sold, and do they have any working, and is there an established track record? Because track records do actually mean something. I mean, that's kind of tells you the history of the company and where they're built and how rugged they are. I mean, our mower is very similar to low bid. I mean, they're all very, very similar in spec. Ours is particularly 15% heavier in weight, but long story, I'm not going to give you a sales pitch, but I would encourage the city council, I believe a representative from Kramer's is here, to ask them how many of these particular mowers they have working in the field. I mean, we have 4 within 20 miles a year. So that's my only comment.
Okay.
So,
Is there a
Can we have someone address this from Public Works or
Is Randy here?
Randy?
Randy? Yeah. Randy,
Hi.
what is the Kramer mower?
That one is a Bush, that's a Rhino, TX 1700. They're all very, very similar. Every model that was bid in, if you look at the actual units, they're very, very similar. We don't really have any particular preference of one model over another. I based my recommendation solely off of the price. The warranties were all similar as well.
You got any history of reliability, or do you not? No, you don't know.
Hearsay, yeah. One's going to say one thing, somebody else is going to say something else. It's, you know, do you buy a Toro? Do you buy a John Deere? Everybody has their own opinion. I'm really indifferent.
you want to ask me?
I mean, it's Randy's job to make a recommendation and to do, I mean, it's not my job to go and read about every mower that we are bidding on, so.
They're all
trust
very,
me,
very similar.
Is the
Whether or
Kramer
not,
rep here? Want to speak to your mower?
Don't give us a sales pitch.
Good evening. My name's Cliff Kramer. We run a family business in Sydney. We've been doing business for 47 years. I think our reputation as far as being able to service things, have parts in stock is kind of saying why I've been in business for 47 years. As far as the Rhino mower goes, there's a lot of companies that make mowers. Rhino is a family, similar to GM. You can buy a Chevy, you can buy a GM, or you can buy a Buick. Different labels, same thing. Several of the breeds out there are in the Rhino family. They're owned by
rhinoceros, bush hog being one of them, which was what the bid was spec'd around. And talking with the rep, the bush hog had a shot warranty, and I was questioning it over what the specs were. And then the company came out and said that they would warranty it for the period that we put on the bid. As far as service goes, that company has been around as long as I have. So I'm not too worried about the company going bankrupt. I'm not worried about the service. I get parts for them all the time, and they do very, very well. So the company doesn't bother me as far as being reputable, as far as the city of Waterville being able to use the piece of equipment and getting good longevity out of it. So, any other questions?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. I don't have a problem with it.
You have something to say?
I really don't, I'm not the one who's going to be using it. You've taken a close look at it, and
Cut his hair with it.
we're staying with people who are in the central Maine area, close by. Makes sense to me to go with your choice.
Okay, all those in favor? So now we have to,
Madam Chair,
yes,
I move to take Order 81-2014 from the table.
okay.
Second?
All those in favor?
Bringing it back up for discussion.
Are you in favor of that, or you?
Well, I have another motion to make, that's all. We can do it afterwards, doesn't matter.
Well, are we getting
A motion?
an opinion now as to the
A motion
nature
to
of the vote?
amend his, no, okay, so you're in
No,
favor of the taking it off the table?
We're just back to talking about the budget now.
Okay, all right. Yes,
The council can take 2 readings in one night of an order or an ordinance, and you've done that many, many times, and that's done by simple majority vote. To waive the reading of the entire matter requires unanimity of the council. And there, if one councilor says, no, I want to hear the whole thing, then the council and the public get to hear the whole matter. So 2 different types of majority requirements. I think the matter that was being considered initially was, let's take the 3rd reading of the budget. And then a separate question could be a motion to waive the reading of it, and to have that motion passed does require unanimous consent. So any single councilor, in effect, can require the entire matter to be read. The whole idea behind waiving the reading is sometimes they're very lengthy items, they would go on, amending an ordinance that's 10 pages long. Does anybody want to listen to 10 pages being read out loud? Of course not. In that type of situation, on the 3rd reading, by unanimous consent, the council can waive the reading of it, and the council can, by unanimous consent, waive the reading of the entire budget order
So,
as
Bill,
well.
to take a 3rd reading tonight, it would just be a simple majority.
Simple majority. Yep.
and reading it by title only is the first,
If somebody, you have a motion, you can have a motion to have a 3rd reading, there's a second. Then somebody can make a motion to say, I move that we waive the reading. And then you'd have a vote on whether or not you're going to waive that reading in its entirety, and thereafter you would then vote on the matter itself, the merits of it, the substance.
don't they usually vote, move to read it by title only first?
Well, we can do both.
We can do
in one motion. if it's-
You can do it in a couple, you can do it in a couple, yeah, it is sometimes is combined, that's really up to you. The bottom line, though, is the taking of the final reading, or the taking of a 2nd and 3rd reading of a matter can be done by simple majority vote in a council meeting. It does not take unanimous consent of the council to take 2 readings in one night. It does take unanimous consent of the council to have a final reading of an order or ordinance by title only. Okay?
So, I move to take the 3rd reading of Order 81-2014.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Okay, so,
All right, I move to read by
okay,
title.
wait, that was,
John was opposed.
John was opposed. Thank you.
I move to take the third reading by title only.
Second.
All those in favor?
Title only part, people. Make her read the whole thing.
Okay, so did you vote in favor, Karen?
They were all in favor.
Okay.
An order providing for appropriation of municipal and school operating budgets for the period of July 1, 2014 through June 30, 2015.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any last questions, comments? Could you call the roll, please?
Yes. Counselor Stubbert?
No.
Counselor Mahovich?
Yes.
Counselor Winslow?
Yes.
Counselor Thomas?
Yes.
Counselor O'Donnell?
Yes.
Counselor Boucher?
Yes.
Counselor Raincoat Thomas?
No.
The vote is 5 in favor and 2 opposed.
Okay, thank you all. I know it's been tedious, but I appreciate the fact that you've come, stuck through it. Yes,
We have one other item of business.
we have a couple.
We have a couple.
We have a couple.
It goes at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, and Liam's sign. Oh,
Yeah.
we got more. Okay.
We've
We
got
have the authorizing of the contract.
Okay.
Resolution 85-2014.
Okay.
Move to adopt.
Anyway, I have a motion.
On this one?
No, I have a motion to waive cloture.
At the end.
Do you want to put that at the end?
At the end,
Okay.
yeah.
New business. Okay.
Okay, so we're moving the resolution 85-2014.
Shall I read it?
Yes.
Yes.
A resolution providing for authorizing a contract with Waste Zero. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville acting as municipal officers as follows. That the city manager is authorized to sign a 3-year contract with Waste Zero for a pay-as-you-throw system of trash collection. Said contract is subject to review and approval by the city solicitor as to form and content.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, did you get that?
I did, thank you.
Resolution 86-2014.
A resolution providing for authorizing a contract with Sullivan's Waste Disposal. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as the municipal officers as follows. That the city manager is authorized to sign a 3-year contract with Sullivan's Waste Disposal for curbside collection of recyclables with a sum of $78,000 per year for 3 years. Said contract is subject to review and approval by the city solicitor as to form and content.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, resolution 87-2014.
A resolution providing for authorizing a contract with Maine. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville acting as municipal officers as follows. That the city manager is authorized to sign the attached 3-year contract with Maine for the receipt and processing of recyclables. Said contract is subject to review and approval by the city solicitor as to form and content.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Questions? All the, yes?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes.
I think it would be worth mentioning a couple of things. With each of these contracts, you're saying subject to review and approval by the solicitor as to form and content. And with this contract, this has gone through, over the last 4 days, has gone through several drafts, and it's getting pretty close to where I think it ought to be. There still needs to be some default language added to it that will protect the city, and I intend to see that is entered. There have been several changes made, some of which were made this afternoon that I'm happy with, but there'll be 1 or 2 items to be clarified within this, and if you're saying yes, I just want you to understand, you're saying, you're giving me the authority to say it's final as to form. I just want you to know where I have a couple of differences with it. Also, for clarification, the matter that comes next will be a council order to put all 3 of these contracts, all 3 of these resolutions out to a referendum next year. And with this Maine, if the contract if the public repeals this contract and the other two, there's been talk about what would the penalty be. It could be a penalty to the city, and I think they estimated at the top end it might be $8,500. It might be that there's actually no penalty at all, and the way it's being proposed, actually the city might get paid something. It all depends on whether or not recyclables make money or lose money during the course of that year. So there may be a penalty. It may turn out that there really isn't a penalty. We just don't know yet because nobody can really say what the recyclable market's going to be during the coming year.
Bill, does the contract, let's say it goes a full term of the year.
Well, if you approve it, it's going to have to go a year.
Okay, but no matter what the term of the contract, does it establish penalties for the city anyway?
No.
Does it what?
No, there'd be no, if we go the whole 3 years, there's no penalty.
There are no penalties to the waste market then?
No, in other words, if it's a loss, we're not getting money and they're not paying us money if it goes the whole 3 years. It's just revenue neutral.
I feel it's going to even out over 3 years.
So there's, I haven't seen the contract, but the contract does say that if you terminate short of the 3 years, you're going to pay a penalty, or you could pay a penalty.
Yes, so if the city decides to, if the city, if the public repeals this, yeah, the contract should be attached.
It is.
It is.
If the public repeals these contracts, so therefore that this Eagle Maine contract only ends up lasting about 14 months, or actually about I guess a full year. We could pay a penalty if in fact they've in effect have lost money by taking us on as a client because recyclables were a loser for the year, and then given all the operations they've had, I think their estimate was, based on the likely tonnage, that we could lose, I think the figure you gave, Mike, was about $8,500. Okay? It also could be nothing. It just depends on what that market is. Now, if after year 2, for some reason, we breached the contract, and I can't imagine why we would, but if we were to, in other words, we just stopped sending our stuff there for whatever reason, there are penalties built in, as there would be for any breach of contract.
Do these need to be 3-year contracts?
They have certainly, everybody has proposed that as a 3-year contract, and I might defer to Mike here, who's had a lot more exposure. I've just been reviewing documents.
Yes.
I have not talked to any individuals.
We asked that, the committee talked with them, both Waste Zero, well, all three, about could we have it for just 1 year? Why does it have to be 3 years? The committee felt, after listening to them, with the investments they have to make up front, that it was important for the city to make a commitment to them on a 3-year period. Especially Sullivan, where they're going to be all of a sudden sending a truck and a driver here, probably another person in the truck to do the recycling, and all of a sudden, we say we don't want you to do it anymore, and they've geared up for it. Actually, they haven't proposed any penalty after 1 year, but we felt we should go 3 years with all 3.
Okay, so where are we? Ready to vote? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, are there any people here who are on the committee who aren't counselors? I just wanted to thank the committee for all of the work that's gone into all this. I hope you'll convey that thanks to them. I know you spend a lot of time and effort on this, and I appreciate the hard work that went into this. Okay, so the last one is the election order, 88-2014.
An order providing for authorizing a special municipal election to be held on June 9, 2015. Be it hereby ordered by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows. That pursuant to Article 10, Section 5 of the Charter of the City of Waterville, the City Council hereby authorizes a special municipal election to be held on June 9, 2015 for the voters to consider the following referendum question. Shall Resolution 85-2014, which authorizes a pay-as-you-throw system of trash collection, and Resolutions 86-2014 and 87-2014, which authorize single-stream curbside collection and processing of recyclables, be repealed effective September 1, 2015. Be it further ordered that a warrant be issued fixing the poles located at the American Legion, 21 College Avenue, to open at 8 o'clock a.m. and close at 8 o'clock p.m. Be it further ordered that the city clerk is hereby authorized to give all necessary notices for holding of such election.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Questions? Comments? Yes.
If I may, Mayor, if you notice the date of September 1st
Yes.
on that referendum, and the reason for that is that if the voters decide to repeal everything that's been passed here tonight, this Waste Zero says we have to pay for whatever bags they have in inventory, and they have verbally estimated that to be about a 2-month supply. And so we wanted, and if we're going to have to pay for them, then we might as well use them and have them in the waste stream. So that would give us the time to make sure that we in fact have used up all the bags and don't just end up paying a penalty for a bunch of bags we don't have anything to do with. You can't finally get the final approval for this order tonight, of course, because you can only do 2 readings in one night. So this is going to come back to you again. I think between now and when it'll come back to you again, we will have a conversation with Waste Zero to try to really nail down that inventory question so we can come as close as possible to having this not really have a penalty attached to it if in fact the voters a year from now decide to repeal these contracts. So we'll have time to come back to you, and it might be we come back to you and suggest that it's repealed effective August 15th, or it might be September 15th, but we need to have a conversation with Waste Zero to nail that particular issue down as particularly as possible. I just wanted to mention that regarding the dates. Not, you don't repeal it effective the council meeting after the vote, or else we're sitting here with a couple thousand bags that we've got to pay for, and we'd be saying, why the heck didn't we use them?
Okay, thanks. Okay, all those in favor? Right, unanimous. Thank you all.
Okay,
Your cloture motion?
I have a motion to waive cloture on Order 89-2014, which is in order to transfer the sale of municipal property to the capital improvement account. Do you want to read that?
We need a second.
We need a second.
And then you have to vote on whether or not to
Okay.
wait for.
All those in favor? Dana?
Thank you.
John? You voted?
I didn't, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Would you like
Can't
to
vote
read it now?
twice. Please.
An order providing for transfer, sale of municipal properties to capital improvement fund. Be it hereby ordered by the City Council of the City of Waterville acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city manager is hereby authorized to move the proceeds from Order 136, 2013 in the amount of $1,750 and Order 97, 2013 proceeds $750 to the capital improvement fund.
Move to adopt.
Second?
You want to say what this is?
Yeah.
This is just to make our finance director and the auditor happy.
That's all it takes?
Yeah, it's all it takes, because June 30 is the end of our fiscal year, and they really want to see this transfer done before our fiscal year closes. So if you take one vote tonight, and the final vote on June 17th, we'll get it done for the end of the fiscal year. And, you know, with the sale of city properties, what you've been doing, or what you've been authorizing, is to take the sale proceeds, whatever's left after taxes are paid, and so on, and put it into that capital improvement fund. And so that's what this is proposing to do, because for those 2 properties which we sold, evidently we forgot to ask about that transfer.
Thank you. Questions? All those in favor?
Thank you.
You smiling, Chuck? Did I say smile? Mike?
I don't have a manager report.
Whoa. Okay then, we're adjourned. Thanks all.